We are here. The final chapter of Attack on Titan is with us. It's here. I'm ready. I'm not ready. I don't want it to be over. Wow. Jeez, this story, this has been a big one for me since 2013, like it has for many people. One thing that I was kind of expecting that I want to happen this chapter is Reiner. Is Reiner going to die? Gabby is a Titan, Jean is a Titan, Connie is a Titan, his mother is a Titan. Reiner's got 1 year left on his term? Like, how much longer would Reiner have to live to begin with? I think Reiner might sacrifice himself and get eaten by one of these mindless Titans so they can go back. And I think it makes sense for Gabby, but this would just fulfill Reiner. I mean, it's not like sure, if Reiner could live until 60 or 80 years old and find a life of peace and serenity, then great. But that's not how it works when you hold the power of the Titans. He's at the end of his term and he's going to die anyway. So he may as well die now and give whoever, whether it be Gabby or his mother, another 13 years of life. It would make sense for Reiner's character for that to happen, and then it would allow Gabby to finally inherit the armor like she wanted. And that is just something that Attack on Titan does brilliantly, where things happen that you initially wanted to happen, but in a completely different context to where all of a sudden it becomes horrifying. So Gabby inheriting the armor under these circumstances would probably not be the way she wanted it to go. But just quickly, I don't know, this video isn't just going to be about reacting to the final chapter of Attack on Titan. This is the first video I've made on the story, and I just binge read a lot of it this week. I woke up Monday, today's Friday, and I read volume 32, and I just had to keep reading onwards. So chapter 130 to 138, I basically read in 2 days, which isn't that much, but boy, I think chapter 137 and 138 are two of the best in history, and let's just get into it. The final chapter, I'm going to capture my experience with it on camera. Toward the tree on that hill. So that would be the tree that Armin saw from the very beginning. Still blows my mind, by the way, that chapter 1, the first line that Mikasa says is, "See you later, Eren." And then the second Eren wakes up from his very long dream, he says, "Mikasa, when did your hair get so long?" Like, Jesus, he thought of this from the beginning, Isayama. And the anime cut that line from episode 1. So that's just, this is why we manga fans of Attack on Titan, that's why we get a bit, that's why you don't cut lines, because sometimes those two lines from Mikasa and Eren in chapter 1 ended up being the most significant things to happen that episode. And yes, that was the episode where the Colossal Titan broke down Wall Maria and Shiganshina, and Eren's mother died. Two of the most, the big driving events of the story. And I'd argue that those two lines from both Mikasa and Eren, foreshadowing the very end, were more important. And it's not in the anime. So, and now we have this flashback with a young Armin and Eren talking to each other as if... I love how confusing and distorted time and space is through the paths and memories, and how memories and human consciousness really doesn't exist in time and space. It's our bodies that do. It's just a cool way to portray that in a story. Read the chapter. Yep, so just like everyone would suspect, Eren was just trying to push them away because he thought that's how it would go. It was all to push us away from you and make us into heroes who saved humanity from extinction by hunting you down. That's right. That's the fact that Eren saw his future and his end is one of the more minor redeeming qualities of what he's done. This is the better version of Code Geass's ending, by the way. That's what I think. Might edit that part out. Oh no, now it's in frame. This is probably going to be a pretty long video. It's going to take me a long time to get through this chapter, to be honest with you. You turned your back on paradise in spite of being called island devils to stand on the side of humanity to the end. You'd probably become the most respected beings in this world. Just like they were the heroes of Shiganshina, too. The rumbling will kill 80% of humanity. They won't be able to wage war. Did Eren kill 80%? Did he get that far? Because we really don't know how many people are actually alive outside the walls, right? Like, the only nations we've really seen explored would be Paradise and Mali, but there's other nations that we haven't seen. This is framed as if Eren's had this conversation with Armin before the beginning of the series. One thing I would prefer if it was fleshed out a little bit more, as everything else in this story seems to be, would be the spine thing, the actual source of power that just gave Ymir her power in the first place, that was in the tree, and it just happened to be there. Like, I would have liked more depth into the lore. It really is flowing like a river. So there's a volcano that they're seeing. Oh, this is trippy. Where and when is this? I know what I said at the beginning of this video, but now I'm just confused. I do like it though. How far did I get? We're still getting more depth on Ymir's backstory. This is fantastic. This is the final chapter, and he's still expanding the lore and the world of this series. Like, stop it. This is too good. Oh God. When we touched at the path, I felt something. I couldn't believe it, but Ymir, the founder, loved Karl Fritz. What? That's what bound her for over 2,000 years. And so I love how Eren and Armin are just growing over as the panels move by. Another drink break. I can't claim to understand the depths of Ymir's heart, but I knew she was in agony as she yearned for freedom for 2,000 years. She sought someone who'd release her from the agony of love. Then someone appeared. This shot's beautiful with the what looks like northern lights over mountains. Did you just say Mikasa? I did. So you weren't listening after all. Bit of banter. I was listening. Why Mikasa? Only Ymir knows that one. Mikasa being this is going to be a long video, but it's a once in a lifetime thing. I mean, the only other stories that have this impact on me could be Avengers Endgame, which is past, and of course One Piece. The final chapter of One Piece would be something else. Why Mikasa? I really hope that question's answered. Only Ymir knows that one. She sought someone who'd release her from the agony of love. As for me, even I still don't know what Mikasa will do. This reminds me of when I first watched Attack on Titan. There were only 7 episodes out. I binged it all in, and when Eren died in episode 5, inside the mouth of a Titan, similar to 138, episode 6 and 7 set up Mikasa to be the main character of what I thought was going to be a short tale perfectly, and Mikasa was easily my favorite character after the first half of season 1. I want to see so many alternate realities of all the different directions this story could go on. I can't believe how much I love this now and how different I feel about it now from all the way back in season 1. The story growing in complexity as I grow into complexity is always going to make this very personal for me. I'm going to be personally attached to this. That's how you phrase it. I'm just going to read. The only thing I knew for sure was the result of Mikasa's choice. All of it was to arrive at that result. That's why I moved forward. I murdered 4/5 of society. I didn't know he killed that many before they stopped him. Jeez, I thought it would have been like just a little bit, a little bit of Mali. Far out. That's a truly fantastic apocalyptic ending. One that is explored in more depth than any other story has ever gone to, while also taking the time to make its villain, Eren, one of the best developed characters in fiction. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, and it's a controversial story. It's very brave to do this. This is going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of people, to which I would just remind you not to take this literally. I got all of you, my precious friends, wrapped up in this battle without even knowing if you'd survive it. And this, again, is where the seeing the future component of Attack on Titan is so good, because it's specifically Eren can only see his own memory. So he doesn't see the future. He can still only see things from his own perspective. Just like every human being, we can still ultimately only see things from our own perspective. And Eren here could only see his future. So for all he knows, Armin and Mikasa could have died. Well, Armin and Jean, for instance, could have died. And if he wasn't there to see it, he can't remember it happening. He might not have even known that Jean and Connie were going to turn into Titans. He might not even have known that Hanji, died. But he only knows what he sees at the very end, at the end of last chapter when Mikasa cut his head off. It's a cool storytelling tactic because, first of all, it reflects human nature a little bit, how we only really have our own perception and our own thoughts and our own brain. You know, I can't see what's happening over in India right now because I'm here in Australia. But at the same time, it's also cool from a writing perspective. It allows your story to be a little bit more consistent and avoid all those very messy questions that can come with seeing the future and time, the travel and the time travel, where people will be like, well, why didn't he do this? And why didn't he do that? So it's Eren could only see his own future. You know this. I don't know. I want to take my time with this. You know, this is going to be, put this video on in the background. This is going to be a long, rambling one. You know, draw a picture, draw a founding titan. My head's gotten all messed up. The founder's power has made it so that there's no past or future. It all exists at once. So I had to do it. That day, that time, it wasn't Bertholdt's time to die yet. What? The one who let him go and made her go that way was... What? What? It wasn't Bertholdt's time to die yet. The one who let him go. Because Bertholdt, when he was escaping the Colossal Titan, could have died. And made her go that way was... Armin grabs his hand. Let's go, Eren. Yeah. Look at how much Eren looks like Mikasa here. I just love how, like, Eren and Mikasa sort of, at least by hairstyles alone, they sort of go past each other. And even in the manga especially, Eren and Mikasa always look very similar. I don't know. So, what were you thinking? About who? About Mikasa. Do you think she can forget about you and live a happy life with someone else? Just like you wanted? Well, who knows? So Eren knew that he had to die. And of course he knew that telling Mikasa he always hates her, he thought that was going to help her do what she needed to do and kill him and move on. Eren wants Mikasa to forget about him. It's like he thinks he's so infatuated and in love with Mikasa, he thinks she's too good for him. That's it, Armin. Punch him in the face. Punch him in the face. I don't remember ever forgiving you. What are you thinking, disregarding Mikasa's love for you like that? A woman who's always valued you over everything, even her own life. Do you really think you can tell her to forget about you and be done with it? She would be able to forget about the heartbreaker she loved and be happy at the very least. But who knows, maybe she'll find someone good and no time shrug it all off. No, I don't want that. Mikasa finding another man? I want her to think about me and no one else for the rest of my life. Oh, the duality of human nature, saying one thing but meaning another. Even after I die, I want to be at the front of her mind for a while. 10 years at least. At least 10 years. She can get married after then, right? Oh, okay. I didn't expect something that pathetic. Oh, this is so bittersweet. It's like they're just sort of talking to each other like bros now, and... Ah, man. I don't want to die. I want to be with Mikasa, with everyone. Eren, don't give up. We can find another way. I guess this is just like Eren described a few moments ago, that he doesn't really have his concept of time, past and future, all of it happens at once for him. That's what this chapter's being delivered to us like. All of it's happening at once. Like, Armin's talking here like Eren hasn't done the things yet. And, you know, they were talking like... and at the beginning of the chapter, they were talking like everything had already happened, but they were children at the beginning. Time is just completely distorted. It's all at once. I'm sure none of them wanted to die either, but how could I ever be forgiven? And that's it. Just complete destruction. Nothing but footprints from all the Titans. Even if I didn't know that you'd stop me in the end, I think I still would have flattened this world. I wanted to leave every surface a blank plane. Why? Eren, that is your name. I don't know why, but I wanted to do that. I had to. Eren, you are free. Armin, it's time. I'm erasing all your memories of this place. Next time we meet, we'll be trying to kill one another. You'll probably remember again once it's all over. So Eren's like showing Armin all of this before he did it, and then he erased his memories, and wow. Eren, thank you. You became a mass murderer for our sake. I promise I won't let this era go to waste. Oh, this moment's beautiful. What a story. I don't know what happens after I die, but I know you can make it to the other side of the walls. Humanity will be saved by you, Armin. Armin remembered this on the boat just before he spoke with Annie? Why? Just when I thought I understood this story, Attack on Titan just drops something that makes me want to go reread every friggin' conversation they've ever had. I'm going to be rewatching this series for the rest of my life and discovering new things about it. The only way it's possible to write this is if Isayama himself also had the power of the Attack Titan, and he remembered his future simultaneously as he was, living in the past. Love Annie, by the way. Just gotta get that out there. One of my favorite characters. All the steam from both the Colossal Titans. Armin laying down there. Yeah, now we're back to the present. Falco's Titan seems like it's crashing. So Armin's waking up now. And Mikasa, of course, she's just still cradling Eren's head. It's a little bit creepy. I like that, by the way. Like, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's so creepy that Mikasa kissed the dead head. It's like, yeah, but it sums up Attack on Titan. It's like horrifying and beautiful simultaneously. It's both. It's both extremes. It's a complete story here. It's not just this one-sided positive fairy tale fantasy where with heroes versus villains. I wouldn't even bother to use words like hero and villain and good and bad with this one. It's a perfect conclusion for Eren, and it's he had to die. You don't get to live when you do that. Like that's the only conclusion. It's just like Lelouch in Code Geass, but 3 times as good. It's fleshed out so much better. It's so much more earned. I'm gonna cradle my own little Eren head here. Alright, now that's getting weird. Mikasa would understand. So Armin remembers that, and then he wakes up just after getting that memory, after his Colossal and Eren's Colossal are decaying, evaporating, and then he just, as he's processing this, he sees Mikasa walk through, holding Eren's severed head, and he screams. You remember now too, don't you? When Eren came to visit us. So Mikasa remembered the same thing? Yeah, I heard. The result of your choice would make the power of the Titans vanish from the face. Yes! Yes! Oh, that is so good. Jean is back. Reiner looks like he's going to give him a big hug. Gabby is safe. Connie's back. Oh, this is so good. I did not see this coming. I am so glad I hit the record button today. I did not see this coming. This is... Because I hated that about last chapter. It just seemed like bullshit. It was unfair that this freaking spine slime thing that had like the least setup of everything in Attack on Titan, the one element of the story that wasn't the best developed, and then it just emits this gas like Zeeks and turns everybody into a Titan, and it didn't seem like... It just seemed like a bit of a gut punch to the audience and the reader to have Jean and Connie die like that, and Gabby too, for no real narrative reason. Like, it was already devastating enough that Eren had to die. Like, that was already going to be inherently sad, was that, you know, I don't... This is so good. This is so good. And that means that if the power of the Titans vanishes from the face of this world, that Reiner can live to become an old man. Does he deserve to? Probably not. Probably not. But, you know, this isn't about making judgment of who's hero and who's villain. It depends on who you ask. Jean and Connie, Jean especially. Jean was the character who consistently struggled with taking human life. Like, he was nowhere near as brutal or as ruthless as, you know, Armin even was. Or even Connie. Connie and Armin, Mikasa, they're all quite irredeemable with their actions. Reiner especially. Gabby's, I mean, Gabby only killed Sasha, which I know to fans is going to be upsetting because, you know, Sasha was a character we knew. But in the context there, Sasha was just a soldier that killed many of Gabby's friends. Like, it was Gabby's blind hate that made her a little bit more repulsive, but that was the point. That was the narrative brilliance of her. But the power of the Titans vanishes, which means that all those people... And so Annie gets to be with her father. Gabby is saved. Falco... Now I remember. You conscious piece of shit. Eren, you really are. He said even my mum would go back to being human. Connie's mum gets to go back. The very thing that destroyed him and led him down to do some questionable things, like with Falco. Did Eren have a conversation like this similarly with everybody? Oh, this is beautiful. He said for us to live long. What about you? I never asked you this, you suicidal blockhead. And there it is. Annie finally gets to hug her father. And he fucking Isayama, man. He got me last chapter. I thought he was just like, you know, it's sweet in that they stop Eren, but it was mostly bitter. Especially with, you know, all of them just turning into Titans. But the fact that it just felt like bullshit out of nowhere, and Eren's final action ultimately ended up being a good thing. He's not the worst villain in history. I don't care. I'm home, Dad. Gabby! You see that? Levi's just looking at all the Survey Corps members. I'm going to draw a poster of that. Guess this is the result of all of your devoted hearts. Come on, Levi. Cry or smile. Give us something. And the smoke is forming this symbol of the Wings of Freedom. The Wings of Freedom. Only now, in the very last chapter, are they free from the terror of the Titans. And they might enjoy a long period of peace. Obviously, there'll be war again. That's just how history goes. But at least for the remainder of their lives, Levi and Mikasa, Armin, they'll probably be able to live to grow old now. A vision of Sasha for Jean and Connie. Gabby and Falco. What, did Gabby just suplex Falco? What the hell? Mum, I guess I'm not the Armor Titan anymore. Is that true? That's great. Even Reiner's mum is getting closure to her character arc where she only just recently realized how she was using her son for her own freedom and her own desires, and now she's happy that he doesn't have the armor for the first time in his life. Huh? I'm sorry for everything, Reiner. This is all I ever needed. I should go. Huh? Where? If I stayed here, I doubt they'd give Eren a proper burial. Let him rest somewhere quiet. Eren always liked to nap there. Yeah. I think it's a good place. It's the fucking tree, isn't it? Oh, that shot of Mikasa, the side, the profile view, the smile and the smoke. That's gonna be a character card, I can tell you. Mali soldiers coming in. But this guy, please, Secretary Muller. Thomas Muller is in Attack on Titan? I can't believe it. Eren Yeager is dead. The power of the Titans has vanished. We are nothing more than people now. Can you prove that to me? Right here and now. Please, prove it. Are you people? Are you Titans? Someone's chucked off their 3D maneuver gear. Who is it? If we did still have the power of the Titans, wouldn't we be using it to resist you? It's Armin. But the fact that we continue to be powerless even as you point your guns at us is the greatest possible proof of our humanity. Who are you? I am Armin Arlert, an Eldium from the island of Paradise, the man who killed Eren Yeager, the Attack Titan. So that's what Eren meant when Armin's going to be the hero of humanity. He's going to take credit and, you know, bear that responsibility, that burden, as Mikasa walks away from it all. That is one detail that I really liked about Attack on Titan, is that, you know, they called the Eldians devils, but they did actually have the power to turn into a Titan. And, you know, but now that it's gone, the Eldians are just no more than people. And I think at least the bloodshed and history and terror of the Titans is gone. It's gone. That's the only way it could have ended. And unlike Code Geass, where I don't know if Lelouch would really have stopped. This is just the better version of that. This is the ending. The Titans are gone, so they can't fight wars with Titans over each other. Of course, they're still going to have guns and battleships and stuff, so war will still happen in this world, but it might be at least a little bit better than what it has been for the last 2,000 years. And it certainly will be better for Eldians. And here it is. 3 years have passed since the day known as the Battle of Heaven and Earth. Kick-ass title. Historia has her child. Looks like a little girl. So it's Eren's child? Is that going to get confirmed? Is it Eren? It's got to be, right? But we do see this guy. It's going to be ambiguous, isn't it? Whether that's Eren's kid or just some random person. Those who have survived after an unfathomable number of lives were taken still seem to be tormented by their unhealing scars. As you would. As the world suffers through this loss, their fears have come true. The nation of Eldia has formed a so-called army controlled by the Jaegerists and now focus their efforts on building their military. Okay. Really? But Flock's dead, and he was kind of the main... Flock and Eren are dead. Fearful of retaliation from what is left of humanity on the other side of the sea, the island yells out as one. If we win, we live. If we lose, we die. If you don't fight, we can't win. Fight. Tatake. Tatake. This fight will not end until either Eldia or the world disappears. That is what Eren said, and he may be right. Even so, he chose to leave this world in our hands. This place we now live in, a world without titans. That's Historia, right? Yeah, that's Historia. Yeah, so this is Eren's words. If you don't fight, we can't win. Fight, fight. This fight will not end until Eldia or the world disappears. The third option is the Titans disappear. Even so, and you know, Historia and Armin gonna be the new rulers. At least Historia's pretty innocent, right? I don't think she's killed too many people, unlike Armin. So we got Armin, Reiner, Jean checking himself out in the mirror, slicking his hair back. I love it. He's a good-looking guy. Connie looking out the window into the distance. Peak looking neater than she ever has. I never get tired of Historia's beautiful handwriting. It even smells nice. Reiner still has his freaking crush on Historia. How many times do I have to tell you not to lust after a married woman? Who's she married to? It's got to be that random guy that we don't even know the name of, right? You seem awfully concerned about how your hair looks yourself, Jean. John? Still don't quite know how to say it. Trying to look good for someone? For all the girls who ever open a history textbook. Don't you mean a field guide to horses? It's a damn shame you got a new lease on life, Reiner. This is a happier ending than I was expecting, to be honest with you. I like this banter. This is the crew. This is the crew. Look at all of them in their suits. I love this. I love this. Annie, paradise is within sight now. Armin. Do you really think this is going to work? God, I'm stuttering over my words. I can't believe what I'm reading. We destroyed the walls. We betrayed the island. We killed Eren, a man revered by the people of Eldia. I see. So that's what's happening. They haven't been back to Eldia in 3 years, and so Eldia is still... This would be one to reread a few times, I think, to really process everything that's happened. Armin, do you really think this is going to work? Oh yeah, I forgot. Armin's officially the commander of the Survey Corps now. And all of my emotions towards the series, because the narrative is so consistent and so neatly tied together, when I have these emotional moments remembering things, and of course growing up with this story, it's tied to a lot of other parts of my life, so it's very personal. You know, the biggest emotional moment for me was the rooftop with Erwin and Armin, and the curse of being able to give someone life or bring someone back to life, essentially, and how much of a burden that would be if, you know, in a situation like that. And I love that was just beautifully depicted and also heartbreaking. And finally, for the first time, Armin it's been proved that Armin was the correct choice to save over Erwin. Erwin couldn't have done this because ultimately Armin was far better equipped to deal with Eren than Erwin ever could have been. So Her Majesty's first move was to protect Jean's relatives and my mum. I know she'll defend us too. Us weak little things? Annie. Conflict will never vanish. That's right, Armin. But when they see us all together like this, they'll have to want to know about our story. Levi in a wheelchair. Falco and Gabby. Far out. Gabby's looking like Sasha. That's That's an interesting design choice. Onyankopon's still there. He lived. Levi. So if the Ackermans got their power from the Titans, so Levi's sort of superhuman vitality came from the Titans, but since the Titan power is gone, Levi might permanently be a cripple or disabled, but he's crossing his legs. The way he's sitting, it just looks like he's too lazy to get, like he just doesn't want to stand up anymore, and he doesn't have to because he's such a boss. He's humanity's strongest soldier. He's not anymore because the power of the Ackermans should be gone. Even Levi and Mikasa should just be regular ass people now. Their superhuman vitality and strength should be gone. Why those who tried to kill one another for so long have appeared on Paradise to advocate for peace. And that's really one of the most powerful things, is that the soldiers of Paradise and the warriors of Mali ultimately formed the strongest team humanity's ever seen. Levi's missing his right eye. He's got no iris there. He looks badass though. Let's tell them everything. Eren, everyone will be coming to visit you soon. Aren't you happy? God. That shot. The mountainscape. You wouldn't have been able to see that before when the walls were there. This is really the first time I'm processing what Shiganshina looks like without the walls. They are free. No way, that bird comes in. Hold on. This isn't like a nice little sort of symbolic coincidence, but it could have more weight to it. Someone will be making theories. This bird comes in and wraps the scarf around Mikasa. Bird being the symbol of freedom in the context of Attack on Titan, as you know, the scouts with the wings of freedom. So, and then of course, Falco and his bird, and there's some relevance to it. And then of course, Eren said to Mikasa at the end of season 2, right after Harness died, I'll wrap that scarf around you again and again. With Eren's death being tied so closely to the very first chapter and the first time we saw him, maybe this is a time loop. Maybe this will repeat itself again. And then that would sort of give credence to Armin's speech with Zeke, where even though they'll have to go through all the suffering and the war and the pain again, the conclusion that I believe Armin and Zeke both came to is it's worth it if they could just have these quieter moments where Zeke could just play catch with his mentor again, and Armin could just read books and, race Eren and Mikasa to this tree. Mikasa looks up. Thank you for wrapping this scarf around me, Eren. And that's it. That's it. That was a better final chapter than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to... That's it. Attack on Titan, eh? I like the ambiguity of the ending there, where it's sort of implied, like if you want to believe it's a bit of a time loop, great, but it also serves as just a complete logical, chronological narrative from beginning to end. Maybe it will repeat itself. Maybe it will repeat itself, but differently. Of course, Attack on Titan introduced a very sort of spiritual element to it with the paths and all the Eldians being connected on this plane of existence that is outside the physical realm. So that's cool. God. I want to see more of the story. This is it though. I mean, I'd love to just see these. I like these characters so much now that I just want to see them try to what they do next. Who would have thought that Annie and Reiner would all live to the end like this with Armin and Mikasa? This is it. This is my favorite story. Don't know how this is going to age with time. Maybe it'll be a time loop of my own where I constantly shift between loving it and then thinking not as much of it. But for now, at this moment, it's definitely everything that I thought Attack on Titan was lacking, even after 3 seasons, was delivered in the final. Because I was already satisfied. After the basement reveal and they reached the sea in volume 22 or the end of season 3, after that point, I was so satisfied with this story, and immediately Attack on Titan was like a top 5 of all time. Just because it paid off so many of the things set up from the beginning. It developed way more into a far more complex story than I ever expected it to. And then season 4 just completely, or the 4 year later period with the rumbling section, and just it didn't even need to stick the conclusion for me to be a great story, but then it delivered way more than I expected it to, with an ambiguity that'll cause me to think about this story for a long time to come, with the whole path thing and all the audience being so brilliant. This is my favorite story. It's better than Evangelion. It's better than One Piece. And this has been my reaction to the finale of Attack on Titan. A rambling, if you will. Thank you for watching, and see you later, Aaron.